Welcome crafters! Today we're going to be making these emotional support dumpster fire Kleenex box covers. So you can just pop it on top of your Kleenex box and then you can pull the Kleenex through, and I kind of think the Kleenex looks like the smoke of the fire, which is pretty fun. So with that, let's get crafting. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos just like this one. To craft the emotional support dumpster fire, you're going to need one color for your garbage can. The yarn that I used, recommended using an 8mm crochet hook. However, I used a 7mm crochet hook. And you'll need a color for the lid of your garbage can, as well as the top and the flames of your garbage can, some red and yellow. Then if you have some of these little eyes, you can use them. If you don't have eyes like this, that's okay. Later in the video, I'll link to my happy little pot video, which will show you just how to sew some eyes on if you don't have ones just like this that you can just snap on. You'll also need some black yarn or thread in order to create the little smile of your dumpster fire. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the moss stitch, which we use for most of the body of your dumpster fire, and as well as a kind of knitted looking stitch that you can see on the top lid. We're going to start with the sides of our dumpster fire. So to begin, you're going to need to create a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 16 times. So you're going to pull a loop through 16 times. Once you're done that, we're going to single crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, and then we're going to chain one on top of that. So insert your hook into the 4th chain, pull a loop through, pull through 2, and then chain one more. So that's a single crochet with a chain. Then you're going to do that again, but skip one chain. So insert your hook, pull loop through, pull through 2, and pull through one more. And that's how you start to moss stitch. So just keep going all the way down your chain the exact same way until you reach the end, and then you're going to join back up with me. So once again, you skip one of those chains, you pull a loop through, you pull through 2, and then pull through one more time. Into the last chain, you're going to single crochet, and instead of just chaining one, you're going to chain 2 this time. So pull through twice. Then you're going to turn your work, and we're going to work our single crochets into those empty spaces where we skipped a chain. So you should have spaces there. It's where we skipped that chain, and you're going to do the same thing you've been doing. So you're going to moss stitch by single crocheting into that empty space, and then you're going to chain 1. And once you get to the end of this round, then make sure you join back up with me. So once again, now that you're at the end, you do a single crochet, and then you're going to chain 2 instead of 1 and turn your work. For rounds 4 to 9, you're going to repeat round 3 until you get a rectangular shape that's about the size of your Kleenex box. I've left round 4 to 9 in the video, but it's sped up. So if you want to follow along with me carefully, then you're going to need to use the YouTube function to slow the video down. So rounds 4 to 9 consist of 7 moss stitches, and make sure when you're at the end of your row that you chain 2 to turn your work instead of just chaining 1. Once you've completed 9 rounds, then join back up with me to finish the side. For round 10, we're going to continue what we've been doing before, but we're only going to do 5 moss stitches. So complete 5 of those stitches, and then when you get to the 5th one, chain 2 instead of 1 and turn your work. Once you've done that, you can join back up with me for the next round. For round 11, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to moss stitch 5 times, and then once we do that 5th stitch, make sure you chain 2 at the end and then turn your work. And once you've completed that, then you can join back up with me for the last round. For round 12, you're going to moss stitch 3 times, and on that 3rd stitch, you're going to chain 3. After you've chained 3, we're going to slip stitch into the top stitch of our row that only had 5 moss stitches. So you insert your hook, you pull a loop through and pull through that loop again. Then you're going to chain 3 more and slip stitch into the top stitch of our round 9 that we had, where we had 7 moss stitches. To finish off, you pull a loop through, and then you can cut yourself a tail and give a tug on your crochet hook. Now don't worry about that little gap that you see there. We're going to end up filling that in later on in the project. So now you're going to have to repeat rounds 1 to 12 to create another side. Now we're going to create the handle for the side of our dumpster fire. To do this, we're going to start by making a slip knot, and then we're going to chain 11. So pull a loop through 11 times. After that, we're going to work into the chain we just created. We're going to single crochet 10 times. And now that you've reached the end, you're going to chain 1. Then you're going to fold your work in half, and we're going to single crochet 5 times through the top stitch of both sides. For that, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then slip stitch 5 times across. So when you slip stitch, you pull a loop through and pull through again. Then you're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the row of our single crochets that we did across. So go between the single crochets to pull that slip stitch through. After that, you can finish it off. So you pull one more loop through, and then you're going to cut a tail, but cut a decently long size tail because we're going to use this tail to sew the handle onto the side. And you can give a tug on your crochet hook and pull that tail through, and then you just flip your handle round like that so that it's nice and rounded looking. And you'll have to repeat this one more time to create the handle on the other side. Now make sure when you're sewing your handles on that they end up on the opposite sides. Otherwise you'll have a handle pointing inward into your dumpster fire, which you don't want. So to sew the handle on, you're going to take your tapestry needle and put it through that long tail that we cut. You can tuck the other tail into your handle, and you're just going to weave it back and forth through each stitch all the way around the middle of your side. And once you have made it all the way around, you can make sure you weave your thread through to the inside, so not the side that the handle is sticking out on, and go back and forth to finish off that end. So weave it back and forth about 3 times. After you've weaved it back and forth about 3 times, then you can cut that extra long tail. Then you can repeat this process for your second side to place your other handle on. Now we're going to create the front and back, and as you can see, you want it to line up. The back should be longer than the front. We're also going to create the top pieces using the same method. Just make sure after you've created your second top piece that you don't finish it off, because we're going to join those pieces together with crochet. So you're going to start your front, back, or one of the top pieces, and they all begin the same way. They just use a different number of rounds of moss stitches. So start by creating a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 28. And the same as we did the side, for this next round, you're going to single crochet and chain 1 into the 4th stitch from the hook. Then you skip 1 chain and single crochet into the next one over. And after you've single crocheted, then you chain 1. Repeat this until you reach the end of your chain. And when you're all done this round, you can join back up with me. Now that you're at the end of this round, for the last stitch we're going to do, you single crochet and then you chain 2 instead of 1. Then you can turn your work, and for round 3 we're going to go into those empty spaces that we created. So where we skipped that chain 1, so single crochet and then chain 1 into those empty spaces that we created by skipping a chain in the last round. And once you've made it to the end, once again, you can join back up with me. For this round, you should have a total of 13 moss stitches. So now that you're at the end, after you've done your single crochet, make sure you chain 2 instead of 1, and then you're going to turn your work. Now if you were completing the front, then you're going to repeat round 3 6 more times and finish off. If you were doing the back, you repeat 9 more times and finish off. And if you were doing the first top piece, then you repeat round 3 2 more times and finish off. But if you were doing the second top piece, you repeat round 3 2 more times, and make sure you don't finish off. You want to join back up with me so I can show you how to crochet the top pieces together. So round 3 consisted of 13 moss stitches. So make sure when you get to the last stitch that you chain 2 instead of 1 to turn your work. So the front will be a total of 9 rounds, the back will be a total of 12 rounds, and the top piece number 1 is a total of 5 rounds. Now we're going to join our top pieces together. So pick up your piece that you were still crocheting. You're going to chain 2 and turn your work if you haven't already done that. Now you're going to moss stitch 3 times. So once again, you single crochet and chain 1 3 times. Once you're done that, then you can slip stitch 13 times across. And now we're going to single crochet and chain 1 4 more times. So moss stitch 4 more times. Once you've done that, then you're going to take your other piece and lay it on top. And then you can turn your work. And we're going to slip stitch into the top stitch of the corner. Then we're going to slip stitch 7 more times into our top stitch, but we're going to go through first the back loop of our one side and then the front loop of our other side of that top stitch. And this will create an invisible seam. So once again, don't go through that whole top stitch. Make sure you're going through the back of the top stitch and then the front of the top stitch. So through the front and back loops. And once you've done that 7 times, then you can join back up with me. Then you're going to slip stitch through the whole top stitch 13 times of only the one side that you can see here. This should be your first top piece, not your second top piece that we started off with. After you've done that, then you can join back up with me. Now we're going to slip stitch 6 more times. The first slip stitch is going to be a little different than the other ones. For the first slip stitch, go in through the back loop of your other side to join them together. Then your other 5 slip stitches are going to go in through the back loop of one side and the front loop of your other side. And once you've done that, then you can finish off by pulling one more loop through. And we're going to make quite a long tail because we're going to use this tail to sew it onto the top of our dumpster can. Now we're going to create the lid, and for the lid, we need to create kind of like this ridged pattern. So you're going to start this round with a slip knot. And then you can chain 13. For round 2, we're going to single crochet, but we're going to do it into the back bump of those chains that we created. So not through the front, but you can kind of see if you flipped your chain over, they've got these little bumps that stick out. That's where you want to go into. So single crochet 12 times all the way down the chain you created, but go through those back bumps. Once you reach the end, then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. For the next round, we're going to single crochet 12 more times, but this time we're going to go through the back loop of our stitches. So go in through that back loop, pull loop through, and pull through 2 12 times. You can see we started to form the first ridge of our lid, and we're going to chain 1 and turn our work to start the next round. For round 4 to 12, you're going to repeat exactly what you did in round 3, where you go in through that back loop and you single crochet 12 times. Then when you reach the end, you chain 1 and turn your work. I've left rounds 4 to 12 in the video, but I've sped them up, so if you want to follow along closely with me, then you're going to need to use the YouTube function to slow down the video. Once you've finished all those rounds, then join back up with me. To finish off the lid, make sure you pull a loop through, and then you're going to cut a decently long tail once again, because we're going to use this to sew it on top of our dumpster fire. Now we're going to create the flames. Start with your yellow yarn and create a slip knot. Then you're going to chain 15. After that, you can single crochet 2 times into your chain. going to double crochet 2 times into the chain. To double crochet, you need to yarn over, go through, pull a loop through, pull through 2, and pull through 2 more. So once again, you yarn over, you insert your hook, you pull a loop through, pull through 2, and then you pull through 2 more. Then we're going to slip stitch into the next chain. Chain 1, then fold that tail that you have across your work. You turn your work, so now you're going to go back down and single crochet 2 times, inserting your hook through the top of each stitch and the chain. Then you're going to single crochet twice into only the chain. Next, you're going to double crochet. So once again, you need to yarn over, pull a loop through, and then you pull through 2 and pull through 2 more. Then we're going to treble crochet. To do this, you have to yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull a loop through, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2 more. And double crochet once, so only yarn over 1 time, pull a loop through, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Then you're going to single crochet. And we can finish off by pulling 1 more loop through, and then we can cut our tail. So once you're done this part, it should kind of look like a little boot, and you need to repeat this 1 more time. Now we're going to create a small part of our flame. So to start this, we need to use the yellow yarn. We're going to slip knot and then chain 6. Then you're going to single crochet 1 time. Double crochet 2 times. So once again, to double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook, pull a loop through, pull through 2, and pull through 2 more. Next, you're going to single crochet 2 times. And to finish off, you pull 1 more loop through, and then you can cut a tail. Then you need to repeat this 1 more time. Going back to our pieces that look kind of like boots, we're going to take our red yarn now, create a slip knot. And starting at the top of our boot, right where we have that first chain in our row, so you can see kind of where we have that little tail, you're going to single crochet 24 times around the boot. Once you've made it and you've gone around kind of the toe part of our boot or our flame, then that's when you want to take all those extra tails that you have and you want to stuff them inside. You can keep watching and you'll see me do this. So the flame should be nearly closed off now. After those 24 single crochets, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do another single crochet into the very top part of your flame. And then you can chain 1 more time and slip stitch into the red first stitch that we did there. Now we're almost done this piece of our flame. What you're going to do next is chain 1 and then turn your work. Then you can single crochet into the red yarn, chain 1, and single crochet again into your red. And lastly, we can slip stitch into that next chain over, and then we can finish off by pulling 1 more loop through, and we can cut a long tail. Now for that other little flame piece, you're going to start by creating a slip knot again with your red yarn. And for this one, you just want to single crochet all the way around. Once you've kind of turned the corner at the top of the little flame piece there, then you can tuck in all those extra yarn tails that you have into it. And to finish off, you can pull 1 more loop through and then cut a tail. Now we're going to attach the flames together and weave in the ends of our flames. So you can take your long tail that you created and put it through your tapestry needle, and then you're going to go all the way through your flame and come out the bottom part of it where your red yarn is. And before you attach the small flame to the big one, I just like to get rid of the small flame's tails. So I just pull them through the top, and then I'm just going to cut those extra tails. Now taking your really long tail again, you can weave it back and forth through the little flame near the bottom there and join the 2 bottoms together. Make sure you keep this really long tail because it's what we're going to use to sew the flame onto the top of our dumpster fire. Now we're going to attach our dumpster fire all together. So we're going to start with attaching the front and the sides together with the back. Start by creating a slip knot. then I want my seam to show up along the front and the back side of my dumpster fire. So when you're doing this, you need to make sure you go in through the front first, or the back, whichever one you're doing first, then go in through the side of your dumpster fire. So once again, you go in through the front or the back first when you're crocheting, and you want to just single crochet all the way down to join the sides together. Once you get to the end, then you can finish off by pulling one more loop through and just cutting a tail. Then you need to repeat this for each side. I've left this in the video, but if you would like to follow along carefully, you'll have to slow it down once again using the YouTube function if you want to join me in this process. Now we're going to add some trim all the way around our dumpster. So start with a slip knot, and then you're going to single crochet, but you're only going to go through the front loop of each stitch along. So just through the front loop and single crochet all the way around. Now when you reach one of those sides, make sure you join back up with me, because I'm going to show you how we close that little gap. If you remember, when we created the sides, we have a little bit of a gap. So join back up with me when you've reached one of your sides, and I'll show you how we add the trim and we make it look so like there's no gap. So if you're at one of the sides, you do the regular single crochets in that front loop all the way along until you reach one of the parts where we chained 3. So once you get to where we did that chain 3, you go in first through the back loop of where you did your moss stitch, and you go in through the front loop of your chain 3. So once again, go in through the back loop first of where we had the moss stitches, and then you're going to go in through the front loop of your chain 3 and do a single crochet. And you do this wherever we did those chain 3s. Now we're going to attach the top of our dumpster fire. Do this, take that really long tail you had and put it through your tapestry needle. This should be right where the two top pieces join each other. So you're going to start by sewing on right in the middle of the side there. You want to go in through the front of those single crochet stitches that we did. And this way you won't have any red yarn peeking through around. It creates an invisible join, so there won't be any red yarn on the other side of your dumpster fire trim. So you want to weave it back and forth through each of the top piece of your stitch. However, there will be more trim stitches than there will be for your top piece, so I skip about every 2 to 3 in some places as I go around. And make sure you go in through the front part of that single crochet when you did your stitch. To line it up, just make sure that you go corner to corner, and your corner piece of your top will match up with the corner stitch of your dumpster. When you finished weaving all the way around, then make sure you pull that tail through to the inside of your dumpster, so where you won't see it, and you weave that end back and forth about 3 times so you can cut the tail off. And once you're all done that, then you can join back up with me. Now to attach to the lid, you can select which side that you would like it to sit on. And I start at the back corner. I go through the ridge, but only at the back. After that, when I'm weaving back and forth, I go through to the inside of my dumpster. Once you've gone all the way around, just pull your tail through to the inside of your dumpster so you can weave it back and forth 3 times so you can cut the tail off and it won't be noticeable on the top. Now we can attach the flames. So with your tapestry needle and that long tail that we had at the bottom of our flame, we can decide where we want to stick the flame. I put it right on the corner there, and then you can weave that tail back and forth through the top red part of your dumpster to attach it. And once you've done this a few times and it's secured, then make sure you pull the tail through to the inside of the dumpster again so you can weave that tail back and forth about 3 times and then cut it off. Once you're finished attaching the flame, then you can weave in all your extra tails that you have. Just pull them through to the inside of your dumpster and go back and forth about 3 times each tail just so you can cut them off. Once you've weaved in all your tails, then you can join back up with me for putting the face on our emotional support dumpster fire. So now we're going to add the face to our dumpster fire. I like to put the eyes in about the middle, and I count on either side about 5 stitches in. You can try placing the eyes in different locations before you add the snaps on the back, just to make sure you like where they are. I always like to add my smile first and then snap the eyes on, because once you attach those eyes, you won't be able to get them off without unraveling your work, which would be a big headache. So make sure you line everything up where you like it first. Add the mouth. You take your black yarn or thread and you go through the inside first, and then you're going to come back through. You pull the smile kind of where you like it to, and then you're just going to make a tiny little stitch there in the front. So pull it back through the front and then back through the back. After that, cut the yarn or string you use that's right by your tapestry needles so you can tie a knot on the back side or the inside of your dumpster fire. I like to tie the knot twice just to make sure it's secured, it stays in place. And if you're happy with the look of the smile and where the eyes are placed, then you can snap the eyes on. And there you have it, your emotional support dumpster fire Kleenex box cover. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please subscribe and check out my other videos. Well, thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed crafting this emotional support dumpster fire, then please subscribe for more videos just like this one.